Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started in just a few moments. We're just letting everybody join in. Hope you guys are having a good morning.
Thanks, Rajbir, for including me. I appreciate it.
We're just giving a couple of minutes for everybody to join so we can start the program.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think we have quite a few people joining, so I think another 2-3 minutes.
Yep, we can all say hello, just wave, smile.
Maybe announce the name. If everybody want to announce their name one by one, we'll appreciate it and say hi. You guys can unmute the button and go back to mute when you're done saying hi. How's that?
Good morning, everyone. Sethi from Cerritos.
Good morning. This is Nisha Gupta from Fullerton.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. This is Ragbir Bagga.
Hello, Ji.
Hello.
Good morning. This is Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Hello, Ruby.
Hi.
Good morning. This is Aarti Damani from Fremont.
Hello.
Nice.
Hi, good morning. This is Kimi.
Hi, Kimi.
Hi, this is Rupi here.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mihir from Placentia.
Hi, Mihir. How are you?
Very good, Rajbir. Thank you.
Hi, this is good morning. This is Komal.
Hi, Kamal. How are you?
Hello.
This is Keval Kanda here.
Hello, Kevalji. How are you? Long time no see. So good to have you here.
Thank you.
Kevalji is a very dear friend of ours. He's a national leader for us, international.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rajbir, I request everybody go in the chat and in front of their name or write in that checked in. Then you'll have a list of everybody who was there.
No, we are recording the whole program too. I think so they can probably do that.
No, on the chat, they can put their name and say checked in.
I'm not technically that good. Maybe you can guide.
There's a chat
I
on the
know.
bottom line.
Seji, I always take a accounting once we're at critical mass with everybody, and our participants lets us know who's on the thing, and so I screenshot all of that. So we'll have that list.
So yeah, if everyone can turn their cameras on for a second, that would be nice.
It's okay. We know we're having a chai pe charcha, so everybody can look.
Yes.
Okay.
Does everyone have their chai with them?
I wasn't
Not
prepared
really.
for this.
And then do you have your piece of fruit? If you don't, you want to quickly run and get a piece of fruit because I have an activity with that.
There you go. There you go.
Any kind of fruit or just a something specific?
Well, we're going to all have our cameras on, so the fruit should be appropriate.
No.
We have Rangeshji here too. Rangeshji, welcome. You joined. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, because you know, I do teach sexuality too, so you could bring a banana if you want.
All right. I think we have. Aman, how many people?
Any in a row.
Hi, Namrata. How are you? I think we can start the program now. I think in 1-2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chai and Wellness.
Thank you.
This is going to be our second forum on mental health. Today, we're going to be covering a little bit more on depression, yoga. There's going to be some physical activity, and we are so excited to have you guys all here today. So let's get started. As usual, I'm going to introduce our secretary. Mr. Venkat Bedi. He's a very accomplished individual. He's involved with a lot of different charities, and he's been one of the founding members of Iasa from the very beginning and a trusted colleague of Mr. Rajbir Hassan. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Venkat Bedi.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you. Aman, thanks for everything you did for the Iasa. So on behalf of Iasa, I would like to welcome everybody for the second our mental health show. Really, like this time, we changed a little bit like our new speakers. I introduce and welcome to our new speakers. Sanmay Mukhopadhyay is specialized in general yoga, disease management, and Dr. Yoga app he's here. Welcome, Sanmay. And Raj Bhakta is a certified.
No voice. No voice. Your voice has gone off.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was muted at some reason, but thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I would like to welcome you all. First of all, thank you, Aman, for your introduction. And on behalf of Iasa, I would like to introduce today's event. This is our second show. Really, we are impressed with the first one. Everybody is impressed, and we wanted to do the continuation of this second one. And quickly, I'll announce like the new speakers this morning for this event. Mr. Sanmay Mukhopadhyay is specialized in general yoga and disease management and Dr. Yoga app. Thank you, Sanmay. Please welcome. And Raj Bhaktaji is a certified professional coach for spiritual health, mental, and immunity life. He's here today to speak on behalf of that. Raj Bhaktaji, welcome to our show. And Dr. Sanjay, you all know, is a doctor psychiatrist in Los Angeles area and is advocate for quality patients care as well. He have a lot of profile. So Aman will introduce afterwards. Dr. Sanjay ji, welcome. Everybody knows about Annie G, like she's a professor in psychology. She's helping people finding peace and through the mindfulness. So today's speakers, four of them are going to speak. I don't want to take much time. So yeah, as usual, behind the scene, we are putting a lot of efforts, and main mentor is our Rajbir ji, ISA president. So I would like to hand over to him before that. And thank you and welcome all, and especially the spectators who joined today. Thank you for joining us. Please encourage us like this, and we'll new show in the next. Thank you all. Rajbir ji, yours.
Thank you, Venkatji. I'm so glad to have all our audience back here again in these COVID times when many of us are confined inside the home. Not me though, but it's a beautiful time to interact with our friends, family, community, and stay grounded and be thankful to God. What we're going through, we are all still alive, families are alive. I know a few of my friends who got COVID and they all recovered, thankfully God. So I look forward that to the times when we open again, so we can meet in person to do many of these events like we used to do and get to hold each other's hand in person one more time. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank my ISA team. Without our great team, we cannot accomplish anything. It has been an effort of 2 months again to get the second program going. It sounds very easy, but it takes a lot of effort. I want to really thank each individual of the executive committee. I won't name them, and all our members same time. I do want to thank personally Dr. Annie Juneja, Dr. Sanjay Vaswani, and two esteemed guests we have, Mr. Raj Bhakta and Dr. Sanmay Mukhopadhyay. I hope I said it right. And happy birthday, Annie. Big round of applause for her. It was her birthday yesterday. She's an accomplished member, and she has done a wonderful job helping people in mankind. And Aman, you have been an asset. I think a really future young leader I see coming. You already are. And you have put in your heart and soul into it. We will not be able to do much without your help. And we will move forward from here. I welcome you all. Enjoy the show. Keep letting people know we are recording the program too. We will put it on our ISA page again and WhatsApp group as well when we have the recording as well. And do spread the message. If you do have any questions at the end of the program, you will have a Q&A chance like last time, but on the chat group, as Aman will announce, that you can keep posting your questions. We'll take notes. And as much time we are left with, we will try to answer your questions. Happy holidays, stay safe, and back to Aman, and let's have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajbirji. Really appreciate it. None of us would be here without you and the executive team. So another shout out to you guys. So we are about to get started. Just some housekeeping, guys. There are going to be 4 panelists today. Each will speak for about 15 to 18 minutes, depending on their presentation. If you have any question for the panelists, please do put them in our chat, and we will be taking those at the end in a Q&A session. So we'll get to all of that. If there's something that's really urgent, please put in the chat. I'll be reading it throughout the conference today, and I'll try to bring it up in our discussion with the panelists. But you know, I don't want to slow anybody down or their momentum, so we'll try to save the Q&A for the end. Our first Astound panelist is the one and only Sanmay Mukherjee. Sanmayji, we are very excited to have you here. He is a renowned yoga guru, disease management consultant, and I will be sharing some of his works towards the end of our conversation. But he actually comes from big corporation background and then decided to devote himself to spirituality and healing people in a different way. So without further ado, Sanmayji, please take the floor. We're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, that was a very high introduction. I hope I live up to it. I'm not going to talk too much about myself. I'm a techie. Started with physics, then became an engineer, computer science, finance, and then I thought, heck, this doesn't make any sense to me. So I went into yoga, deep studies, then yoga therapy, and then I'm also studying very deeply on Ayurvedic counseling. So I because yoga and Ayurveda are sister sciences. So I do have an app called DRYOGI, Disease Management Using Yoga. You can always download it. And I also have a potent YouTube link. It's called The Techie Talkie Yogi. It's a long name, but if you search DR Yogi or The Techie, you probably would find me, search me there. And I think I gave the link to Aman and G. He might be able to send it to people who are interested. So before we start, I think we need to take half a minute to center ourselves and deeply and very gratefully contemplate on how lucky we are. So let's take a deep inhalation and exhalation, palms on top of each other and touching the heart chakra. A couple of long inhales and exhales. Rejuvenating inhale and detoxifying exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let's, in our heart of hearts, pray for all the people in the universe, all living beings, all animals, plants, in the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole universe is our relative. We're all connected. And with that, I would like to start the session. Let's go to the first slide. Not a very well done slide, not as jazzy as you would like to see, but the yogis like to make it simple, to the point. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the theory of yoga in disease management. And there we'll go also into the mental health side.
Before we get started, Sanmayji, how long have you been doing yoga?
Oh, for a long while. I lost count of it. But seriously and studying formally last 10 years.
Great.
And yoga therapy, I have been actually informally, I have been doing it for a long time. But now that I'm formally certified CIYT and overall certified yoga practitioner in therapy, I'm doing that for like 5-6 years from
Excellent.
a therapy perspective.
Breath of knowledge, sir, you bring with us today. Thank you.
Yeah. And so a lot of these things I have learned in my childhood, the ones I'll be talking about. So disease. So I'll talk with disease, then I'll go into the mental stuff, and I'll just touch upon key points. There's not much time to go deep into it. These things takes years to understand. And then I'll show you some techniques and tips a little bit now, and then maybe in the question answer session, if there are deeper questions, I can elaborate at that point of time. So the whole thing started from thousands of years back, Lord Rama's time, Yoga Vasishtha. There is a scripture written by Yoga Vasishtha, and that is the start of a question by Lord Rama: what is Vyadhi? What is disease? And Yoga Vasishtha goes into elaboration of how all the diseases, chronic diseases, start from the mind. And I'll go into the framework, the yogic framework of physicality and health and all of that stuff. So keep this in mind. Almost all chronic diseases start from the mind. And I'll show the framework. 2, there is a framework called Pancha Kosha, 5 layers of existence. We are not just physical beings. We have a physical layer, a pranic layer, a mental layer, an intellectual layer, and a layer above, which delves into moving into the infinite cosmos. It's called Anandamaya Kosha. And the diseases that start, most of the chronic diseases we are talking about that start from the mind, they percolate through our breath into our body, finding the weak spots, or either genetically or by injury or otherwise. And that's how we get into all these different types of diseases, whether it's diabetes, whether it's a knee problem, a shoulder problem. And then, of course, there's a whole aspect of mental diseases, starting from mild anxiety to depression, deep depression, and then go to the whole level of psychosis, delusion, schizophrenia, and all of that stuff. So at each of the layers, yoga has some intervention and protocols that can help. Now, let me tell you this, yoga is not that, and you may be hearing a lot about these things. Oh, I'm having a shoulder problem. What do I do, sir? And you will see some yogi will say, oh, you do this and you'll be okay. No. So whenever you hear that, please remember that's not the right thing to do. As a yoga disease management practitioner and therapist, we are trained to look at the whole case history, look at your whole self, your physical issues, your mental issues, your breath issues, and then come to a complete protocol. It's an elaborate process. The first session that I have with a lot of people goes 1.5 hours. And then consequently, we follow up so that we can understand the whole person. We yogis don't treat a disease, we treat a person. Point number 2. So it's called reductionist, but it is holistically reductionist. So give you an example. If you have a shoulder problem here, I'm going to look at that as not as a shoulder problem, but look at it as a problem maybe which is starting very deep somewhere else. Maybe there is a mind aspect to it. Maybe there's a breath aspect to it. Has there been some injury? Is it coming innately? What is your age? Which age group do you fall? So we look at the whole thing, because these layers and these expressions of diseases progress with age, with your food habits, your diet, and all of that stuff. And you probably know some of it, and you'll hear similar things from other practitioners here today. But I want to make that very clear. It's holistically reductionist, which means I will give you something for that particular disease, but I will also give you something because the disease is connected. Our human beings are the most complex of all machines, and it is definitely interconnected. And therefore, you cannot just segregate one from the other. And that's where most of these traditional methods differ from a lot of very materialistic sciences. Though I think what's happening, what I'm seeing is a merging of tradition and modern, so-called modern medicine together into a mesh, an integrated approach is happening. Because traditional medicine do not have all these massive cohort studies because they were not like that. But we have thousands of years of millions of case studies. And that's how these have grown up. And deep introspection by people. People spend time to understand the diseases deeply, not only at the physical layer, but at the pranic layer, at the mental layer, at the intellectual layer, and even going into the supreme consciousness. Yoga starts from the top, the supreme consciousness, to the body. That's the direction, but it's also bi-directional. Next slide, please. So diseases, and I'm not going to delve too much on this. So we have Adhijya Vyadhi or Anadhijya Vyadhi. Anadhijya Vyadhi are external. So like the COVID-19 is an Anadhijya Vyadhi. It's an infection that came from outside. An accident is suppose you may have an earthquake and we get hurt. Those are Anadhijya Vyadhi. They're external. They are well treated by a lot of modern medicine and ER and other stuff, and hats off to them. Adhijya Vyadhi is what is called the other portion, the stress-borne diseases. And stress-borne diseases, and stress happens in the mind. I'm talking very simplistically, not going into too much jargons. And Sara is the Vyadhi or disease. Vyadhi means disease. Sara comes from congenital, so by birth. Just keep that as simple as that. By the birth defects fall under the Sara disease group, and the rest of the diseases, which are the non-communicable diseases, the chronic diseases, psychosomatic diseases, or somatopsychic diseases, are formed into the Samanya category. So just a little bit, because in yoga we believe in karmic consequences and reincarnation and life. The Sara Vyadhi is correlated with karmic sequences in your past lives. And also the way a fetus grew in the womb of the mother, the moms and the dads, social and dietary and mental conditions, that also guide in the Sara conditions.
Sanmayji, is this one of the reasons, like, my family comes from Jalandhar in Punjab, and I know that, back in like Lamapind, where we're from, especially when a lady is pregnant, they're always like, mom should be in a good space of mind. She should eat healthy. She should breathe and stay positive so that the baby isn't affected. Are those kind of the things that you're talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is one part of it. The other part is the past life thing, but that's definitely part of it, and that's very important part of it. And the other thing is, and there is big protocols for that. It's come through our traditions, as you've seen in back in Jalandhar, and then also in Ayurveda specifically, there are very specific rules with during pregnancy what to do, when to get pregnant, and then what to do, which ritu, which season you do what kind of diet you have, what kind of mindset you have, what kind of breathing you do. These are like, they touch upon in detail all of these aspects. Yes, you are right. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the slide. This is the simple slide, but this is the basic framework of yoga and disease management, also known as yoga therapy here, though I don't like to use the word therapy because it immediately puts a yoga therapist in the realm of physical therapists. We do not do physical, we do physical aspects, but we get into the overall aspect. So the human being in the middle is your bodily aspects, the Annamaya kosha. So there are 5 koshas or seats, and the Annamaya kosha is in the middle. And then comes the Pranamaya kosha, the turquoise green layer, which is the breath layer. But breath layer is a very crude form of definition. It is actually called the pranic layer, the energy layer. And breath is just the manifestation of that. It's very, very important in disease management. And then comes the pinkish, purplish, lacquer color kind of is what the mind layer is, mental manomaya kosha. And then we have the intellectual layer, or the Vijnanamaya kosha. And then outside of that, this whole background is the Anandamaya kosha, or the cosmic level, where you are in a perfect state, if you ever be in that state. So it all starts from the concept that the body comes from consciousness. So this is a big difference between modern science, the way I understand. I'm not talking about modern medical science. I'm talking about modern science versus the yogic sciences. We start with consciousness, and consciousness is not awareness. Consciousness is a separate entity guiding that infinite intelligence, that infinite existence that doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end, that existence throughout, spreading from one end of the universe to another, maybe crossing the universe. Maybe there are multiple universes. There are string theories talking about multiverses and all that stuff. So we go into that level, and then from there we start how, and there are a lot of mythological stories and theories about how from that consciousness the individual beings come in.
So Sanmeji, if I may ask, during the COVID times, everybody is home, everybody's stressed, there's so many things going on. Are you saying that having your kosa balanced and having could make your energy more positive and help you with your outlook and dealing with this situation?
Yes, I'll get into that. I'll actually show you some examples of what I have been doing in the last 9 months. But yes, kosha balancing is a well, this is what I mean by your mental level. Your mind needs to be in a calmer state, in a more sattvic state than in a very disturbed state. So in yoga,
we could all use a little bit more of that.
Exactly. In yoga, stress means the mind is chanchala. It's like moving like a crazy wind that is going on in Southern California, at least for the last few days. So it's like that. So we want to calm it down, and there are tools and techniques to calm it down. So so I'm telling you, giving an example. Say if I have a knee pain, a proper yogic practitioner, not just a yogic practitioner, but a yoga therapy practitioner, we will tell you, well, let's start from your breathing. I think there is a problem with your breath. That's why you are having this issue. And in Ayurveda, most of these joint problems are considered to be a problem of prana, vata. The vata dosha. If I don't want to get too much into that. So it's a combination of things, and that's what we start looking at. So, and I'll get into that. What are the different things we are doing in the last 9 months? I've been in hundreds and hundreds of sessions, trying to help others, but more importantly, I'm trying to help myself. I started to help others because I wanted to help myself. Because when I do pranayama with somebody, or a yogic practice with somebody, or a meditation with somebody, I am probably the most benefited than anybody else. So I'm very selfish from that point of view. But we'll come to that. So let's okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is a little technical slide, but basically what I'm saying is this: there are different types of diseases, and we want to basically try to reduce the stress level and very simplistically speaking, there are a lot of technical terms here. So we will try to control our diseases in a better way, better life, better lifestyle, better dietary style, better, and I can go to a whole dinacharya if somebody asks the question later on, and lead a very a fruitful life, a very meaningful life. Not like you become a monk, but you can live like a, Lord Rama was not a monk. He was a grihi sannyasi. So we can live in this life, but you can have tremendous action, but inside you can be totally calm. That's called action in action. Those are the tricks yoga teaches you. It's a long-term trick. It takes a while to learn, but once you start learning those things, your life will be transformed. And most of the diseases will be under control. I had serious autoimmune conditions, and a lot of doctors said this cannot be cured. So I used both modern medicine and yoga and Ayurveda. All three of them, I experimented on myself, and I'm probably 90% disease-free. This is, in modern medicine, they'll say autoimmune cannot be really thing. You have to do steroid, you have to do this. No steroid, no other anything, only via my mental control, physical control, breath control, and some Ayurvedic herbs have transformed my life. In the last 6 years, that's one of the reasons I went into this whole yoga disease management business. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, same thing, mental distress, coming to that. So as I said, most of the diseases start at the mental level, but there are certain diseases which also percolate into the fourth seat, the layer of intellect, Prajna Paradha, that's Charak Sangita. Rishi Charak was a sage, Ayurvedic sage, and he mentioned that some of this delusional, neurosis, psychosis kind of thing, schizophrenia and all that stuff, they start at a layer which is slightly different from the mental layer. So I'll keep it at that. So let's go to the next slide. I think it's probably almost ending. Yeah. So this is the main slide we all like to come live with. So there are 5 koshas, 5 seats, 5 layers of existence. And at each layer, we have some yogic protocol that is done. In the physical layer, it's a diet, exercise, asanas, and kriya. Kriya means yogic cleansing technique. Like, if you do Kapalbhati, it's a pranic cleansing technique. So Kapalbhati is forced exhalation. Okay, so it's just one of the, and there are other techniques like Jalneti is another kriya which cleans nasal passages. However, do not do things in isolation. They will not work. Do not treat it as a medicine. Oh, I'll take this Tylenol, my headache will go. So I'll do this kriya, this problem will be resolved. Does not work. So anybody in a WhatsApp group says you do this for your headache, and please don't do it. You can try, experiment, but talk to somebody who knows what they are talking about. Okay, that's one thing. I like to leave that point with all of you. Do not, just like a doctor, if you ask a doctor, I'm having a headache, what will he or she do? Just like a modern doctor, modern physician, your doctor. He said, well, come, let's have a talk, let's discuss. The same thing. You need to open up to your therapist. Then in the pranic layer, we have the pranayamas, breathing techniques, relaxation techniques. So let me show you a couple of pranayamas. You probably know Anulam Vilom, which is inhale left, exhale right, inhale right, and exhale left. Just an example.
And Sanmiji, is that something that I could, like, when I wake up in the morning and I get a little settled and, I'm ready to go, that I can do that every morning?
You can do that, but I tell you, join my pranayama classes at 7 a.m. and also 5:30 I do, but okay. 7 a.m. You join one session, you will know what would be the sequence. There is a sequence to follow to do these things. Okay.
Okay.
But these are good techniques. Say if you are really stressed out, you can do Anulam Vilam. In a minute or two, you will see you'll settle down. So these are innocuous techniques, but they are most potent when they're done in a sequence. Okay. So it's like, you eat protein, but you take the protein in a certain time after a certain sequence of food. That's the best way of taking a protein, or maybe after you exercise. You do not, so those kinds of sequences are very, very important in the yogic sciences and the Ayurvedic sciences. In the mental level, we have meditation techniques and emotional culture. Emotional culture means you have counseling, you talk about it, you start feeling, you need to have an inner dialogue so that you get into a better shape. Now, one of the things, a lot of times, oh, you are stressed, meditate. It doesn't work that way. Depends on what level of stress, what level of depression. And anxiety and depression are treated in different ways. Anxiety is a real fluttering of the mind. Depression is the slowing down of the mind. That's how yoga defines it. And therefore, the techniques are slightly different. You do not start with a pranayama or meditation just like that. Yeah, go ahead.
You were saying depression is the slowing down of mind. I think that's something that's something probably going around a lot right now. That's something really important.
Exactly. So one of the techniques is, we have a technique called stimulation and relaxation. So stimulation stimulates the sympathetic. So you get worked up, and then you do a parasympathetic stimulation by slowing down. It's a simple technique. So if you say somebody is very depressed, if you tell the person to do meditation, that person either will sleep or don't know what to do. So I'm talking about like slightly deeper depression. That person has to wake up. So there are some yogic dynamic asanas and techniques and fast breathing that we tell them to do first to get out of the slumber. And this comes from Taittiriya Upanishad and other Mandukya Upanishad and others. This comes from thousands of years back. It's amazing how they came to know all of these things. And then you slow it down. So one technique, if you take away from this session is, do not just go into a slowing down. A lot of times you need to excite yourself and then slow down. It triggers your parasympathetic much deeper. It stimulates your vagal nerve system, which actually does a lot of basically parasympathetic tone, and that calming down will calm a lot of different systems in your body and also your mind and your breath, all of that together. In the intellectual layer, we do counseling. We do this lecture is one of those. Counseling, we do a lot of one-on-one counseling. It's a lot of discussion, a lot of questions we ask. And it's not like, okay, you do this, you do that. No, don't get into that. And then the other thing is Anandamaya Kosha, which is the selfless work or deep meditation. You try to find a happy moment and kind of spread it throughout your mental scape. So a technique we always use is in a meditation, we try to find a happy spot, a happy event, and then try to hone on it and expand it throughout your system. And there are intervention protocols and instructions. We call the instructions to become inspirations. So that's how we do instructions in proper yoga therapy and techniques. Not just a simple instruction that doesn't really do much good after a few sessions. So those are the different techniques we use, and I have been using for the last 9, 10, 11 months. A lot of pranayamas, a lot of meditation. Go to my YouTube site, take a look. If you like it, subscribe to it. It's, and as I said, I do it for myself. I'm very selfish. And that helps others also probably because they keep coming. And I do one-on-one counseling a lot, not only from here. I have people zooming in from India also who consult with me. I try to help them out. And so this is my journey. This has helped me personally from diseases which doctors told me I cannot get out. It definitely has improved my mind. So on the mental scape, one has to go from a tamasic, physical, this, that, full of desire. Yeah, desire is good in a lot of ways, but extreme desire, uncontrolled desire is the root cause of a lot of these diseases. And Bhagavad Gita, sloka, second chapter, slok 62 and 63, very elaborately mentions how we get into this delusional state of deep depression and other mental conditions. And that has strange parallels with modern psychology also. So I think I have spoken enough, but if you have any questions, tell me. This is in a nutshell. It's very hard to summarize it in 15, 20 minutes. It's probably hours of discussion that clarify it. But if you have any glaring questions, please send it out to me or to tell me. I'll answer that.
Sanmiji, it seems that a lot of us, are like, oh, I'm going to get a gym membership when everything opens up again. I'm working out. I'm eating really good. And that's all good for your physicality. But I feel like a lot of us don't know and don't think about feeding our mind and spirit. And it seems that because that is where so much root cause problems come from, that this was a very informative discussion. Thank you so very much. If you could please
one last
post.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, in our chat box, if you could please post your YouTube link, as well as how people can get to your 7 a.m. class. There's some great demand for wanting to join you in the morning. Just post it in the chat, and that'd be a great way to share with our almost 100 guests who are with us today.
Yeah, I'll do that. So another thing, just want to leave it with the audience here, is I see a couple of things physically, very important. Knee problems and the depletion of thigh and calf muscles.
Yes.
Because people are not walking enough or running enough or what have you. That is causing a lot of problems, especially in the elder population, number one. Number two, of course, there's mental anxiety and what will happen, that's happening. And that needs both physical and breath layer and mental interventions and protocols. And the other thing I would like to leave with you is going into a regular routine and incorporating this into your lifestyle is the most important thing. And eat well and eat on time. Important thing, eat on time. Don't take your lunch one day at 11 and the other day at 3 o'clock. Don't do that. Yeah. Do it regularly. Things you learned from back home, bring those back. Old is gold. Thank you very much. I'll share my stuff. Thanks.
I like to say something real quick. Sanmeji, you have given this chart of 5 layers, which is very, very good. I started doing yoga also many years ago with some health issues, and they all went away. I totally agree with you. To the audience, I'd like to mention when we are inviting esteemed speakers like himself, what you just heard, we have follow-up sessions on them too. We're going to continue expanding on them. Like he gave you the layout today. And then maybe on the next session, when we had the chance to come back, we say, okay, let's work on the diet only or pranayams only. So people have more chances to elaborate. So this is a continuous process. It's not like a one-day show we are doing. We're inviting these speakers so they can take the project from one end to the finish line slowly. You cannot spend 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row just to speak on the same subject. I'm very glad to have you here, sir. You did a wonderful job. I'm very enlightened. I thank you on behalf of Iasa and our team. And I thank Venkatji for introducing you to us. Thank you, Aman. Back to you.
And thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Ask a question real quick? Can I just make a comment real quick?
Please go ahead.
A lot of people call this new age stuff, but obviously we who are of this heritage know this is not new age. It's over 5,000 years old. What do you think is the reason for especially Indians not to practice this, not for it to be a part of our daily life when it is our heritage? Of all people, I think Westerners practice a part of what you're teaching, the yoga part, not all 5 layers. But I know a lot of us don't practice any of it. It seems like we know about yoga, but it's kind of far removed. Like, how did we lose that heritage when it came from our land?
It's like an old husband or a wife. Take them for granted and don't even appreciate it. So that's how I leave it at that. I think let me say one thing, and I think I would quote Sadhguru on this, that yoga becomes, so one of the things, this is a historical thing, yoga, Ayurveda, these were consistently been destroyed by, India went through a foreign occupation for a while. These were consistently destroyed by them in order to introduce their interests, their medicine, their interests, their ways. There is a shastra called Marma Chikitsa, where you touch the nadi, and I'm actually trying to learn this. Touch the nadi, and the person can tell you what the disease is. It's an amazing thing. It's a very subjective thing, but it's a very amazing thing. It's not defined by any science. But what the doctors used to, the British used to do, they cut the thumbs of Marma Chikitsaks. So those were one of the reasons why it went away. But now that yoga is quoting Sadhguru, is in America, it's reflecting from the American shore back into India. Now everybody is doing yoga. But the yoga we have today in most of the studios is very fashionable. People making $1 billion industry with all the apparels and nice gadgets and fashion statements. Those, I'm okay with those. I don't mind you do a little bit of fashion, because that's Kali Yoga, that's what happens. But try to understand a little bit deeper. And I see that also. A lot of people, after a year or two of doing this physical yoga, they start getting into the deeper parts. I see that even with a lot of Americans and a lot of non-Indians over here. Now, Indians, just as I said, take this thing for granted. And they think, oh, what is this? Oh, my grandfather used to do that. How good that can be. We have modern techniques and all that. But I go to a lot of doctors who are integrative medicine doctors. I have a fruitful conversation with them. And in fact, a lot of times we teach each other. And it's amazing that how it's all fusing together. I think a holistic East meets West is the best approach going forward.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd like to add one more thing, though we are a totally non-political group here, Iasa. I'd like to make one quick statement adding to your statement that since Modi ji became Prime Minister, yoga became a very big internationally celebrity type of thing also, which did help. When a Prime Minister has a personality, they spread the message, and I think more and more Indian people are following that. I think I commend the Indian government for that one. Yoga was in kind of sideline. It's a very big attribute. It's a very big privilege to the mankind. I think they brought it to the forefront again. Now let's get to the next speaker.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sanmiji. Again, a lot of insight, and you're getting a lot of good feedback. So we'll circle back in the Q&A section for some of those questions and requests. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right. So our next speaker, I'm very, very excited about. I had an opportunity to speak with this gentleman yesterday for about an hour or so. Mr. Raj Bhakta is in spiritual health, mental immunity, and is a life coach. He's renowned within his field, and we're so excited to have him here today to give us a different perspective on what we can do on our daily lives to improve, taking on what Sanmiji said. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Raj Bhakta.
Hello. Thank you very much, Chaman. Nice introduction, and I want to congratulate all the leaders, Rajbir and Venkatji at Iasa, for bringing this awareness and raising the consciousness of one human at a time. And specifically at this era, absolutely we needed this. Again, also I want to thank Sanmayji for really going to the core of the human journey and who human in form of, like, as they say, we are spiritual being in a human form. So that it's a very deep subject. Okay, let's go to the, of course, I'm very passionate. As I said in my first slide, life is a joyful warrior. And then Sanmayji said that Lord Rama was just a grihi, means he was a sansari, but also at the same time as a warrior. Now, how can you keep like a joyful and a warrior work together? So I will touch upon certain practical things we can do on a daily basis, and I will integrate some of the Indian wisdom and also the Western psychology, so we can integrate both and see what we can do on a runway. So let's start with the strongest people are those who win battles we know nothing about. And what battles we are talking about? This battle always goes between our 2 ears in the mind. And unfortunately, we are given an amazing instrument between 2 ears. Only thing is we really do not know how we can manage it. So let's go to the next slide, Aman. So let's see how this pre-COVID, what has happened. In simple words, if I say that life was on a fast track, and there was a joke about aeroplane was flying at 35,000 feet, and the pilot announced on a PA system saying, folks, we have good news and bad news. The good news, we're flying 500 miles an hour. The bad news is we don't know where we are going. So life was like that for so many of us. We are taking vacation and traveling and parties and reception and wedding and whatever. And then came the information overload. And see, the first 200 years back, information was not traveling. It came what I would say, agricultural revolution to industrial revolution to communication to information to technological. Technology brought tons of information in front of us at a fingertip. Well, we got overloaded with it, with the social media consumption of information, and then hit the COVID-19, which was uncharted territory for humanity at this era, even though we as humans have seen 100 years back the pandemic. Then, of course, government election depends on how seriously you take. That also created certain stress level in human mind. So let's go to second. So the impact we already know. I'm going to just briefly talk about the impact which you already know, and Sanmayji have covered. Anxiety and depression level has gone up, fear of uncertain future, because we really don't know how this is going to play out. Sleep, some of us have lost sleep. Of course, financial loss, personal loss, isolation, physical and mental health decline during this because of all those factors. So now let's focus on solution part of it. What we can do? How can we improve our mental immunity? And that's what I will talk about, certain runway stuff. Let's say, I'll tell you about the story. Whether the story was true or not, but the moral of the story is great. There was a king a long time back. And one day, this was before the footwear were invented. So he started, walking around in his kingdom, and a thorn spoke in his leg, and he was very upset. And he called all his ministers and said, "Hey, I want to clean my kingdom. So tomorrow everyone goes and start cleaning up the entire thing, so there are no rocks and thorns or nothing. I said, well, I want to be free walking around." So now all the ministers and all got together and started cleaning, and a lot of dust clouds came up. So he got upset because he couldn't breathe. They said, "Hey, I want all of you to remove this dust." So they threw in water. It created mud and muddy situation. So he got upset. So the one wise old minister, his advisor came to him and said, "Your Highness, can I suggest something?" He said, "What?" He said, "Well, instead of cleaning entire kingdom, can we just cover your feet?"
Beautiful.
And folks, that is what the point was, that's how the footwear were invented. But the thing is, what is happening right now in the world with stock market and businesses and political situations and pandemic and everything else, we cannot control. Only thing we can control is between 2 ears, our mind. So how do we control, as Sanmayji very nicely said, that have a routine. And what are the routines? So I'm going to just integrate certain the Western stuff and the Eastern. Gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, just feel that, be grateful for being alive. But it's not only words, feel and express. I want you to add emotions into your gratitude. Instead of, like casually we say a lot of time, "I love you." Well, when I say "I love you," feel it, or you just say the hollow words. So when we wake up in the morning, I think that's one of the things we should all do is feel and express our gratitude towards I'm human being, I'm alive. Second thing is deep breathing, and I'll play a little role with Aman. I'll make you a guinea pig, Amanji.
Yes, sir.
Let's say if I ask you when humans are born, baby are born, what do they do? The first thing they do, physically.
You wait for that cry, that first breath for the baby to take.
Okay, that's first breath. And what happens when the human leaves planet Earth, when they die? Let's put it this way.
And I guess that's on the other spectrum. That's when someone takes their last breath.
Right. So between first breath and the last breath, it's so important. Okay. And another thing I'll ask you, how many days can you live without food?
I think you could probably survive a few days, maybe like 3 or 4 days, depending on your situation.
Okay, good. How about drinking water, liquid? Can you survive for a few days?
Probably, yeah, not more than maybe a day, 36 hours or so.
Okay, then the ultimate question is, how long can you survive without breathing?
Mere minute for most people.
Right. Okay. So now, if the breathing is so important, and Sanmayji really, talked to us about yoga and the breathing part of it. So if breathing is so important, why can't we focus on that? And
that was good. You tricked me there. I saw what you did. That was smart.
So, what we learn about breathing and what breathing plays a role. And as Sanmayji said, the sympathetic system and parasympathetic system, that's a science how we can calm down and rest and digest and other things, which we can talk about later on. But to me, breathing is single most important thing. And I will say another thing is breathing and your mind is like a horse and a rider. See, if your horse is in rhythm, your rider is going to have a very good ride. But the horse is not in rhythm, the rider is going to be not having a good life. So enjoying the moment. So that's why breathing is very, very important. Then, of course, another thing you can do in the morning is physical movement. Of course, there are so many benefits. I don't need to even touch about it. Daily journaling. It's the moment is our mind is full of a lot of thoughts. We get like 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. Plus we have inner chattering going on, inner dialogue going on. Let us dump this thing in journal so that way it becomes empty. See, when empty mind is a creative mind, it creates things. And how are you going to emptying it? The best thing is to just put it in the journal. No one has to read your journal. Just dump it. Your mind will become quiet. And I'm telling you, you will have to experience that thing. Then, of course, uplifting, reading and listening. Those are very important things because we eat, how physical immunity, when we talk about, we know what to eat, what not to eat. And plenty of information available. Mother Google, you can go and find out what's good and what's not good. And of course, it's on individual basis. But how about what are you feeding to your mind? And that's, Aman, very, very important because this,
I have to tell you, Raji, in the course of doing the preparation with you for these presentation, the journaling thing, you and I touched on this yesterday a little bit, of how a lot of successful people do this. I have a really hard time, like I told you yesterday, that I don't sleep well at night. It takes me a long time. My brain doesn't shut off. And to be honest with you, I tried this last night, and it's the best I slept in the last couple of weeks. So the journaling thing, I know it sounds like maybe silly or something that is not part of your life, but I just took 5 minutes and I just literally just jotted down whatever was coming to my mind at the time. And towards the end of the 5 minutes, I was getting already tired, and I fell asleep with it next to my bed, and it was a good night of sleep. That was a great piece of advice. Thank you so much for that. It really makes a difference.
Well, thank you, Aman. I'm so happy that you put something you learned right away in the practice, because see, these are stuff which I'm talking. They're common sense stuff. Only thing is, common sense is not common practice.
Well
And
said.
that's why, Sanmayji and Dr. Annie were talking about that, how as an Indian, we just take it for granted that we know, because this thing, all this knowledge came to in our heritage culture, but we don't have to practice because we already know. Knowing and doing and practicing are two different things. So
Absolutely. I think we're all guilty of dealing with our bubble and all of our things, and then forgetting that we have to, take care of ourselves too before we can help take care of anybody else.
absolutely, because only person we can take, as I said, we can, just the example of the shoes, just take care of your mind, and you will see the journey on planet Earth will be so blissful, peaceful, and joyful. But first, learn about the mind and see what can I do. How can I use yogic knowledge to make my mind such a strong, like a steadfastness, as Sanmayji said in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and Arjuna dialogue. Krishna talk about this steadfastness. How can you be steadfast while you are in the water zone? And of course, that's a different whole subject. But again, thing is positive affirmation and visualization. This is very important thing, is what you are talking to yourself. So affirmations, positive affirmation is like you are going to program your mind. See, we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Everything, subconscious is like 95% of all your behaviors, belief system, storage house, all your experiences, it is stored over there. And conscious is only 5%. So the most important thing is, how can I become that person? And through what can I talk about myself? If the mind left alone, it will be, it will start talking different ways. But consciously you want to choose and improve the affirmation. And of course, visualization is something Western world always said, the begin with the end in mind. So you see the clarity of what exactly you want in life and visualize this thing. And this is a very powerful way to program your subconscious. So let's go to next slide. Okay, so now what else we can do? We talk about the morning routine. Now let's talk about the evening routine. What I would suggest during daytime also, which I have been practicing a lot, I work and I take care of like 100 blue collar workers in a plant. So you can see with the drama and whatnot, it's a challenging environment in a manufacturing company. So I meditate before I lunch, period. I don't miss that 10, 15 minutes. I go in my car, sit quietly, no phones, no nothing. And everything what I have learned in my last 25 years of learning yoga and meditation, I apply. And I just simply silence myself before I take my lunch. So that has helped me a lot to bring that stress level down to pretty much zero again. And then next, half of my day at the starts. So what can we do? See, the sleep is one of the most important aspect of our human life. So the 7 or 8 hours, it's like quantity of sleep and quality of sleep, both go together. And how can we improve? Because body rejuvenates while sleep, and we don't take really seriously sleep is an important aspect of life. Otherwise, a lot of people start taking sleep meditations and medications and whatnot. But our simple routine can improve your sleep tremendously. I wear a Fitbit and I always watch my sleep score. Like yesterday was 89, and the previous day was 90. I said, well, there are certain things which I do before I go to sleep, and that is what is helping me. So let's talk about, well, digital diet. We all love our phones, and phone is something, a part of our life. So what we need to do is limit this screen time, at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. Some of the most successful people, they limit the screen time 3 hours before they go to sleep. And these are billionaires I'm talking about. They are not the regular people. They don't even touch screen, and they run $1 billion industry. So why digital diet or limiting screen? Because it throws blue light. And what happens is blue light, that affects your brain and reduces the melatonin. Melatonin is a neurotransmitter which is needed for a sound and nice sleep. Now what happens is blue light keeps telling the brain that it's not time and reduces the what you call generation of melatonin. And that's what it does is then you don't feel sleepy. And that's one thing we all can do is limit your screen time. Deep breathing, we already talked about how to quiet your mind. Daily reflection is another important thing, because what happens is during daytime, we live in a reactive, unless you have developed a power of presence, extremely power of presence where is, uh, nothing is uh, acted or spoken without your permission, but it requires a very high level of presence. So what you do is just be going to accept those daily events, forgive other people and forgive yourself for your actions. So you're not emptying your mind. Okay. Third is, of course, reading and listening to soft music. Reading is positive reading with a hard book, which is a great thing. Other thing is, listening to music, because science have figured out that we live in a beta stage, alpha stage, theta, and delta, and they have different uh, frequency. At it vibrates at different frequency our brain. And what we want to do is in a beta, which is what we live. What we want to do is, can I reduce through the music from beta to alpha and from alpha to theta? What will happen is the mind becomes very, very quiet, and quiet mind will go to sleep very nicely. And then if you have your mind is going 100 miles an hour, and then say, how can I stop? Well, there is nothing you can do directly with the mind, but you can use these tools which are indirect impact, and it will quiet your mind. And those are the very, you can Google binaural music and beats like Bach and other. I will say I have experimented, and it quiets your mind just like that. Faith-based prayers, of course, prayers are very, very important, and how we accept and reflect and forgive, and you can be part of it. Another most important thing, I'll talk about the darkness and room temperature. So the Western world, the science says that darker the room and the colder the room, you will have a much better sleep. So folks, just remove any kind of screen, computer, or just put a black tape or something, or just put on your eyes, that eye covering. That itself will darken and then reduce the room temperature. So what will happen is that itself will uh, kind of make your sleep very, very sound. And sound, beautiful, nice sleep will, when you wake up without alarm, oh, then it will be just fresh. So let's go to the last slide, which is for a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. So Hindi mein, there is a song from Goody movie, I believe. It reminds me a lot. It says that दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे. And how are we going to, win? How are we going to master our mind before mastering other people? So folks, today's panelists, we are here to share our knowledge, experience, expertise, and I'll close with a story. And the story, it goes like this. Aman, you better listen.
Yes, sir. Always.
I'm going to make you guinea pig, that's right. So there were two young boys, there was actually a master living in a small village. He was living in a hillside, and he knew everything. He had all the answers. So there were two mischievous boys like Aman and myself. They decided that, hey, let's test this master. What does he know? So they said, okay, one of the, like Aman said, okay, I'll catch a bird and hide the bird in behind my, in my hand, and I'll go to the master. Let's go to the master and we'll ask him, what do we have in our hand? And probably master might say that you have bird. Well, then if we say, we will ask second question, whether it's dead or alive. If he says alive, I will twist the neck and kill the bird and show him you're wrong. And if he says dead, then I'll show him the bird is alive. So we will prove him wrong. So both of them, they go and they go to the master and said, master is in deep meditation, sitting, eyes closed and whatnot. Then master opens his eyes, I say, boys, son, why are you here? So say, you know everything, master. We are going to ask you a question. So the one of the the boy who was holding the bird asked him, what do we have, master? So the master closed his eyes and said, you have a bird in your hand. So then second question, is bird dead or alive? So master opened his eyes and says, son, that is entirely in your hand. So what knowledge and information we are sharing right now and what you do with it is entirely in your hand. And thank you very much. I'm just closing with that and hope we all start practicing. And I want to thank a leadership of Iasa, telling everyone that you are not alone. We are together. And when we are together, we can master our mind together and we can have this journey navigate wonderfully as a joyful warrior. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bhaktaji. Thank you for bringing us to the door. Hopefully, we all have the courage to walk through. That was very enlightening. I think a lot of the stuff that you gave us, a lot of the tools are basic enough. We just need to be able to just discipline ourselves a little bit to do some of those things. The sleep things and the journaling, I'm definitely going to incorporate that with my life. And I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to talking to you more in the Q&A section.
Great. Yeah, and only thing I'll add is find an accountability partner and just every 3 days or 4 days per week, hold each other accountable. Have you done this? Yes. Have you done that? Because that will go a long way rather than trying to navigate this journey alone and then fail. And then our mind comes up with the stupid, reason for not doing it.
Yes, well said. Great idea.
I have to say something real quick. Raji, I heard about you for years from my best friend, Ashok Vanza. He's also a founding member and a part of our Iasa panel. Thank you, Ashok, for introducing Raji to our whole community. You are wonderful, wonderful coach, life coach. And I think in the coming times, we will start elaborating on some of the chapters you teach as we go, like I said earlier. And it was an amazing presentation. I think this is very enlightening. Thank you again for joining us as a guest speaker today. We look forward to hear back from you time and time again.
Thank you.
Great job, Raj. Well, we are off to our next speaker. This is going really well. What a wonderful forum. He really needs no introduction. Dr. Sanjay Vashwani. Dr. Vashwani is a diplomat to the American Board of Psychiatry. He is board certified, is a practicing physician in psychiatry, and a great community member. And one of the funniest people that I know, has got a wonderful spirit. I love this man. He's a great, great person. I can't wait to see. He's going to be focusing on depression during COVID. And without further ado, Dr. Sam, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Aman, for that wonderful introduction. And of course, a big thank you to Rajbir ji, Venkat ji, and Iasa for giving me this opportunity to come back to this second forum. Obviously, a well attended forum the first time. I am glad that we are all able to meet and discuss the important subjects that we've talked about so far. And thank you, Sanmayji and Bhaktaji, for that incredible information you have in discovering our minds. I'm going to shift gears, of course, into depressed mind, depression, how we know it, the biology of mind, and how it is affected during depression. But before we get into depression, just a quick highlight on what the impact, go to the next slide. There you go. Thanks, Aman. What the impact has been of COVID-19. We did touch on this, but things have changed. As we know, there's a big, huge second wave of COVID cases that have emerged. And so has the overwhelming second wave of psychiatric disorders. We know there's a COVID pandemic, but there's also a parallel hidden epidemic of psychiatric illnesses, especially depression, that has surfaced. during these hard pandemic times. We know psychiatric disorders are common. We also know that there is really no health care without any mental health care. And this has changed incredibly because, as we know, folks have lost their jobs, folks have lost their, it's become an economic burden, folks have lost their loved ones. So all of that translates into problems with mental health. And then, as we heard Sanmayji and Bhaktaji, that all translates into medical issues, physical problems that all come from the mind, as Sanmayji very eloquently put it. There is an increase in grief disorder. There are depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, and I was really amazed by the sentences that sort of explained this to a layman. And I heard you say, Sanmayji, that the flutter of mind is anxiety, and the slowing of the mind is depression. That's a good way to put what psychiatric illnesses is all about. We have also come to a point where we are reevaluating policies and political backgrounds and mental health care, which certainly has taken top precedence since COVID time has come. And then there is the critical need to rebuild all the community supports, the clinical supports, and social supports. What is more important here is what we just heard is how do you prevent more than treat these mental health disorders. Next slide, please. Depression is an incredibly complex mental health illness. We knew the rates of depression have really tripled. If you look at the data that just came out a couple of weeks ago, before COVID hit, 1 out of 2 people had mental health issues. That has gone from 1 out of 2 to 1 out of, 1 out of 4 had mental health issues. It's gone down to 1 out of 2 that have mental health issues in the post-COVID era. Amongst those folks, you've also seen the tremendous increase in depression. It has gone from 8.5% to 27.8%. The key message on this slide is if you look at the breakdown of different depressive episodes, the folks who are severe, who have poor quality of life, who are actually totally isolated and killing themselves, because we know depression and suicide go hand in hand, that rate has increased to 5% of the whole depressed population. So we are not only having more severe patients, but we're also losing more lives, not only to depression, but also to substance use disorders that have also quadrupled since COVID has hit. It is important for us to recognize that there is a huge stigma that goes along with mental health issues. And it is important, and we are directing a lot of our resources now to actually prevention and early identification and treatment of depression. Quick note here, if you know somebody is in crisis, please call the suicide hotline, 800-273-TALK. That's an important number to keep it handy, just in case you recognize somebody could be helped with that number. Next slide, please. Let us identify early. Depression has symptoms. Now, you live with folks and you know folks in the community, your loved ones, and you know what their baseline functioning is. It's important to look at some symptoms that could be suggestive of the need for maybe a health risk assessment or maybe a depression screening by a provider or a clinician. It is important that we do not use, as Sanmayji put it, or actually Bhaktaji put it, we do not use Mother Google to do the diagnosis for us. It is important that you take any red flags you see around you to a clinician for a proper evaluation of depression. Because depression, as we look on the next slide, there's different forms and varieties of depression. Here, some symptoms that you need to recognize: problems with sleep, appetite, energy. People tend to isolate. People feel fatigued. There's loss of interest in doing things that you would enjoy to do. There's the mood swings, the edginess, the irritability, the problems with focusing, concentration, and of course, negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts, wanting to end one's life, are some of the common symptoms that would suggest the need for a proper clinical evaluation to rule out any depressive disorder. Next slide.
Dr. Sanjay, how would you compare these type of symptoms to, let's say your spouse, loved one, mother, father is maybe having a bad day, or they had a long week at work and they showed some of these symptoms? How often do you want something like this to be recurring before you maybe are seeing early onset signs of depression?
Exactly. Then you bring up a very good point. I mean, it is, when you're living with somebody, their baseline. So, everybody has a bad day. So the point is, if you look at these trends, on most days than not, then you would start thinking in terms of wanting a screening. And it's not about a day, it's about days at a time, weeks at a time. But again, the whole idea is to see if we can recognize it early, because the longer you wait, the severity of depression changes, the outcomes change, the medication treatments change, and quality of life, of course, a day at a time is lost.
And just because you're listing some of these possible areas to look for that could be, indicators of depression, doesn't mean that we're telling you that, hey, you should start telling your family members, hey, you're depressed. Make sure you get a professional person involved, like yourself or somebody. This is just something for you to look out to. I think you're going to be mentioning about primary care physicians in the next slide or something, but you want to bring somebody professional in to diagnose somebody. But as a family member, as a loved one, you want to be paying attention to these type of signs.
Absolutely. And none of these here actually would make me comment to somebody I know that you have depression. It has to be formally investigated. It has to be formally screened by a clinician. But these are just some red flags, some warning signs, some symptoms of depression that may be suggestive of a budding disorder.
Yeah, great.
Next slide, please. What causes depression? Major events like COVID, Ebola in the past, 9/11 stuff that happened. So obviously the rates of depression increased during those times as well. There is definitely preponderance of genetics in depression. It is important to note that the highest risk factor for somebody having depression, besides the environmental and the social elements, is also the family history of depression. If there is a family history of depression, like you have family history of diabetes or hypertension, it certainly increases your risk of having some depressive disorder. Depression is very common with substance use. There are certain illnesses, like, for example, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, chronic pain issues, cancer, HIV. A lot of these chronic illnesses put you at a risk of depression. One final thought on this, especially in this area, in this era of COVID, is a death or a loss of a loved one. Definitely puts you in a fear of unknown. You are not able to complete the rites. You're not able to attend to the cultural aspects of the loss of a loved one. Certainly, the trauma with it puts you at a risk of depression. Next slide.
Before we go on, sir, there's a comment that I think is good for you to address. Somebody mentioned on the previous slide that these symptoms are daily occurring things in people's lives. Based on this, everyone would have depression.
If you go back to the previous slide. Poor concentration. If you've got somebody who is doing an 8-hour work schedule and is not being productive as was being productive, then that would suggest that it is out of the norm for that person. Loss of joy or pleasure on a regular basis. Now, I'll give you an example. If somebody golfs every week and has given up golfing for 3 months or 6 months, then that would suggest, okay, we've got to start questioning why that behavior has occurred. So while one might feel fatigued towards the end of the day, if somebody has a good 8 hours sleep and wakes up fatigued, or wakes up early in the morning and can go back to sleep, and that's a change from the norm, then that would suggest that we need an evaluation. So while one might have all of these symptoms on a daily basis, I think it's the conglomerate of the symptoms that we look for. It's not just one symptom or two symptoms, it's a syndrome that we look for that has changed over time.
Absolutely.
That could be suggestive.
And Dr. Sanjay, you would corroborate that, unfortunately, in our community, there tends to be a lack of mental health a reach out. We don't have a tendency in our community to think that this is something, we'll go to our cardiologist, to our neurologist or pathologist or whatever it is to get checked up for various situations. But mental health, a psychiatrist or a psychologist is not something that is unfortunately as big as it should be in our community, because there's probably a lot of things that go unsaid or untreated.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And if somebody is saying that I've got all of these symptoms on a particular day, I definitely would worry, because one might not have fatigue every day. One might not have difficulty sleeping every day. But if you tell me you've got all of these 10 symptoms that are shown on this on any particular day, then that itself would be a red flag to keep an eye on if it's a recurring event.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Next slide. Next. This is a list of depressive disorders. There is the unipolar depression, which is, people feeling down in the dumps, losing interest, having problems with sleep, wanting to die. But then there's the other side, where folks feel like where you have symptoms that could be suggestive of bipolar disorder. What that means is you've got mood swings, and your highs are like you talk too much, talk too fast, don't need sleep, you feel like you're on speed, you have special powers, you go buy stuff you don't need, you have rage outbursts, you drive fast. So you're like on the go, have racing thoughts, can't shut your mind out at night. Could be suggestive of an manic depressive episode. Now, it's important to rule this out, because if you take a bipolar patient over time, 70 to 75% of their entire lifespan of a bipolar is spent in a depressed episode. So
Wow.
It is important as you talk to your doctors to make sure you rule that out, because treatments change, outcomes change, quality of life changes, the effects on the family changes, legal issues are more common with bipolar disorders, etc. Comorbid substance use disorder causes depression. And of course, as I said, medical conditions, such as I mentioned before, could cause depressive episodes. Next slide. Depression is treatable. There is no doubt about it. We heard Sanmayji and Bhaktaji talk about different approaches to calm the mind, to control what is between the ears, certainly the mind-body medicine aspect of it. And then, of course, Dr. Annie G will be speaking more along those lines. My focus as an MD is more towards medication and psychotherapies. Depressed patients can be helped with medication. They can be helped with psychotherapy, but there's also some data that shows that the combination works better. Next slide. Some pearls about antidepressant. I know folks don't like to take pills, myself included, but it's important that if you have somebody who has a diagnosed condition or depression, one needs to consider the use of medications. Now, medications, it's not one size fits all. Medications really, there's a stigma associated with it that they're addictive, but not all of them are. Antidepressants especially are not addictive. There are definitely benefits of medications that, of course, take time, because the receptors in the brain have to reset. The biology has to shift back to normal. So it takes a few weeks for it to see the benefits of the medications. It is important that you talk to your doc about when you start the medication, when to stop it, what happens when you stop it, should you restart it, or should you be tapering off the medication? There are certain medications that can be stopped overnight, but most of them cannot be stopped overnight. The ultimate goal here of treatment is recovery. And just to emphasize the fact that folks try to avoid taking these medications because they're worried about side effects. Now, the side effects with most of these newer antidepressants are very mild, and they are very initial. During the first week or two, they appear and they disappear. There are different strategies where you can, tailor a particular medication to a particular patient, providing individualized care to minimize the side effects and the drug interactions that usually could occur with other medications that a patient has taken. Next slide. Selection of antidepressants is very important. Like I said, one size does not fit all. We need patients to talk to their doctors. There are patient preferences. There are side effect profiles. There's the insurance cost. There's the out-of-pocket cost. Chronic comorbid conditions, diabetes medicines, hypertension medicines, or others. You got to worry about the drug interactions. So the point here is talk to your doctor. Be active in your own recovery and in choice of the medications you would have for a diagnosed condition of major depression. Next slide. Self-care action plan is important, and we heard our prior speakers touch on some of these. Practice relaxing. It is very important here that oftentimes we are very hardworking. We set super goals. Our expectations of ourselves are very high. It is very important, if you have a depressed mind, to reduce those goals. Make them simple. Take baby steps. Depression, if it's major, it's going to take some time for it to recover. So bring down your expectations. You got to practice abstinence from addictions. You got to make sure you take your medications. And also, of course, as we talked about, the yoga, the physical activity, sleep. One important thing that has been touched on again, and I'm going to reiterate, the importance of sleep. Going to the bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. If you go to the bed late, wake up still at the same time. No sodas after 4 p.m. No phone 2-3 hours before bed. Bed is only for sex and sleep. There is no TV in bed. These are some small, simple sleep hygiene activities. You can do that. Definitely is in line with what I just remembered the saying from Dalai Lama. He said, sleep is the best meditation there is. So change your sleep habits, do some physical activities, and I think that goes a long way in a quick recovery from depression. Next slide. So finally, depression is real. Depression kills. We know suicide occur, secondary to depression. Depression costly because you lose productivity, you stay home, you don't enjoy, it affects your family and caregivers have to take care of you. That creates a economic burden on family. It has to be screened. We have to treat depression, and the only way we can go out there and start treating depression is not opening the gates that everybody's depressed or there is depression, look for it, but to be vigilant and educate ourselves and be mindful that depression is real and it's common. And as we looked at, the numbers have tripled in the past 6 months or so. So with that, I'm going to say, let's all work together. I appreciate Iasa bringing this to the forum. I think this is a very important topic to be understood and be treated. And I would emphasize there is no healthcare without mental health care. Thanks, Aman. Back to you.
Thank you so much. I was just thinking while you were speaking, like if you have a headache, you'll take an aspirin. If you're a heart patient, you'll take your Lipitor. If you're an asthmatic, you'll take a pump. We take all of these things to, it was going back to what Bhaktaji and Sanmay were saying. We always do all these things, but when it comes to our mental health, our spiritual health, in your case, the science part of your mental health, we tend to just kind of gloss over it. And if your brain is your main CPU computing system, we should pay more attention to it. And I think having you on the second time, slowly, I think having you and exposing us more to mental health and how more available it is, and there should be less stigma about it. And if you tell somebody, oh, I have a heart disease, they're sympathetic to you. If you tell somebody, I'm bipolar, they look at you weird. I think it's a lack of understanding. And thanks to people like you, we really appreciate you educating us.
I'd like to thank Dr. Goswami. Sanjay ji has been a founding member as well of Iasa, but he has been a very big supporter and of course, a clinician, bringing you the medical aspect of the illness, which is psychiatry. But I like to tell all our listeners right now, or even to your family members through you, that if you do have a question you want to secretly ask that is something being anonymous, don't hesitate to call us. We will pass on the message to the person who spoke today, and we'll try to get you back in anonymity also, so we can help our fellow human beings. Our goal is not just to have a presentation, but to see if we can make a difference in lives of our people and people we know as well around us. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay ji, again. Back to Aman.
Going back on that, Rajbirji, there have been some friends that have been direct messaging me on the chat for some questions. As soon as Annie G is done, I will be asking those. So if you feel better, rather than sharing it on the general group chat with 100 people, you can message me directly, and I'm taking all those notes down. So thank you for all of that. So up next, we have our very good friend, the amazing Dr. Annie Joneja. I'm so excited whenever she comes on. She always has something fun for us. I have my Apple here, so I don't know what's going to be happening here. So guys, just give me a little second here on a technical issue. Dr. Annie is a professor at Mount Sac College. She is a former practicing psychologist, also has a book that she published, very accomplished person, and her husband have deep roots in the community. We thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Annie. I'm going to let you screen share and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Good to see everyone. Before I show my screen, could everybody turn on their cameras, please? Even if you have crazy bedhead, it doesn't matter. And I just want everyone to say hello to each other. So please don't be shy. We're all friends.
Hi, guys.
I saw people brushing their teeth, eating breakfast. So, you know, what else is left? Nothing.
Hi, Raj.
Can
Hi,
everybody,
Sunday. Hi, Annie.
can everybody for a minute turn on
Hi, Rajbirji.
their cameras, please? Atul, Suleika, Arti. I'm going to start calling out names if I don't see your camera on. Not just your profile picture, though it is very nice. I see pretty profile pictures, but Anita, Anil, Meena, I know I don't know you guys, but just say hello. I see a little Seema.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. So good to see you. And the fact that we're all here today is a step in the right direction, right? Talking about depression can be depressing, can it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, I love the talks by Sadhmeji, Raji, and Dr. Sanjay. I could talk about those things for hours, but I won't talk to you about that for hours. I have some fun activities planned just to kind of get us now using everything we've learned. Today I want to share with you. So my talk is on, let me take you there. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Let me just fix it on my end. Okay, that should be a little bit bigger. It's on lifestyle, therapeutic lifestyle behaviors. So everything that you've learned from all of our esteemed presenters, we're going to kind of put it together. Building resilience, preventing depression and anxiety, and building resilience one day, one behavior at a time. And I have lots of colorful pictures of fruit. So if you don't have a piece of fruit, go grab it right now. I'll give you a second to go grab a piece of fruit. We're going to start out with an activity. And while we wait for everybody, can everyone just stand up? We've been sitting for a long time. Can we just stand up and do a little twist and stretch? All right, go up, go down. We just kind of need that movement. Bring some oxygen, some to our heads, to our, right? All the blood is pulling in our feet down. All right, wonderful. So you have your fruit. I'm gonna stand during this part. You don't have to, but I've been sitting for a while. So whatever fruit you have, close your eyes, just hold it in your hands, all right? I have a persimmon, and I have a story of why I choose a persimmon, but you don't have to. You could have an apple, a banana, a grape, it doesn't matter, blueberry, mango, anar, pomegranate, right? And I'm just kind of feeling it. I'm just kind of squishing it. Feel the firmness with your eyes closed. Notice the temperature of the fruit. Is it right out of the fridge? Is it cold? Is it room temperature? Is it warm? Was it sitting in a windowsill? If you have a banana, that's great, right? Now you're gonna bring it to your nose and smell it. Now the persimmon has no smell unless I cut into it. So, but some fruits, like if you have an orange, if you have a citrus fruit, can you scratch the surface and sniff it? How does that register in your mind? Citrus is something that lifts your spirit. So if you can eat citrus every day, smell an orange, that tends to help with depression and it grounds you to the moment. So now, slowly, so if you're already eating, don't be eating. We're not eating this yet. We're still checking the fruit out. We're doing mindfulness with the fruit. And let me see, someone has a chat. Shokji says my wife's gone to Ralph's to get fruit. That's okay. Vegetable. So now take a teeny bite, as small as you can, as you've ever taken, like as if you're feeding a small child. Just like a little one. Let the taste register in your brain, the taste from your tongue. Notice the texture in your mouth. Chew it a little bit, move it around in your mouth. So take a teeny tiny nibble of your fruit. And you can, again, close your eyes while you do this. And if you have your cameras on, that's even better, right? Because then we're all doing it together. Notice, is it sweet? Is it sour? Is it crunchy? Is it soft? Let all of those sensations just register. So if you're already eating, can I ask Craig to not eat for a second? Don't eat yet. We're doing mindful eating, so we got to slow down. We're going to take like 2 or 3 minutes with this, okay? And this is how we're going to practice eating at least once a day to really be in the moment with our food and enjoy it. We work so hard for our food, yet what do? We shovel it in our mouth, we eat it while we're doing other things, and we don't really give it that proper care. And then it can't be nutritious for us, right? Because it doesn't even register. So Satish ji, please don't eat yet. Just, I want you to take the tip of your tongue and now touch the fruit. There you go. Let that register. Is it juicy? Is it dry? Now take another little nibble. Let that register. Our brain takes a long time to register the food we eat. So if we eat it quickly, too quickly, we don't get the pleasure out of eating that the brain requires. We're literally just throwing it down a chute, right? We give it 5 chews, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in it goes. Where's the pleasure? So from this day forward, we are going to enjoy our food, whether it's fruit, whether it's food made by our loved ones or we make it with love. We are really going to enjoy it. So my husband and I have been doing this as a practice. We try to sit when we have dinner. We don't even talk anymore. That's a new thing for us because we can talk and talk and talk. But we just sit and we eat together and we do not talk and we really let the food be our meditation. So if you can do that, I would really urge you to try letting food be your meditation. Does anyone want to share how they felt doing that? I know it's weird to do it in front of everybody like this, but is this something you can try on your own? Next time you have food, just put everything away. Thank you for raising your hand, Craig. Put everything away and just be in love with the food you're eating because it's going to nurture you. So give it that time, give it that space to nurture you. All right, thank you for indulging me in that little activity. I hope you keep enjoying your food while I move forward with my talk.
Dr. Annie, I would like to share one thing. The reason we overeat because we don't satisfy our taste bud by eating so fast.
Yes, we overeat. Yeah.
Right. We experience that when we slow down, our taste buds are satisfied and we don't overeat.
Definitely. I always ask myself when I'm going to get seconds of something, I pause and I ask myself the question, am I really hungry for more? Or is it just my mouth and my brain didn't get enough time with the food and now I want more? So I better slow down because they need more time enjoying it. Yeah.
My wife always makes me wait 15 minutes. And after usually that point, I'm like, no, okay, I'm done. I don't need that exercise.
Yeah. So
I like to add something at being a nutritionist that there's a lag time between the receptor cells from the brain to the vagus nerve in the stomach. So if we eat slowly, and not only we enjoy each mole, but we digest properly because the body gastric juices a chance to play as well. So, and that's one reason we are very obese in the modern world. We eat so fast, so quick, and we don't even take time to digest the food or break it down properly and chew it.
No, not at all.
Back to you.
Thank you. So
true.
So what I want you to do, since our life should be full of self-study, we've all been saying reflection, reflection. Every speaker has so far said introspection, reflection. You'll notice that if you make yourself the subject of your study, you're going to have a happier life, a more balanced and healthy life. So how do you start doing that? And I introduced this last time, so I'm just kind of wanting to bring the theme back, and that's through metacognition. Thinking about our thinking, insight and awareness into our thoughts. So start to notice what you notice. When you go into, I'll tell you real quick what I notice. When I see all of you, I notice who's smiling, who's not smiling. And I notice some of you are not smiling, sitting there, right? Yes, thanks. I want to see smiles. So that's my thing I notice. When you walk into a room, do you notice the mess there? Or if you go into a bathroom or a kitchen, or when you notice someone walking towards you, a loved one, do you want to pick the lint off their clothes and notice the flaws that you could fix their hair? Or do you notice something else? Start to notice what you notice. When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you only notice imperfections? And then don't be surprised if you feel depressed or sad. Start to notice a feature, and we all have features about ourselves that we love and those that we don't so much. When you look at yourself in a mirror, notice those parts that you really love and ignore the rest. So just start to notice what you notice. And don't judge it. Don't be like, well, that's stupid. Why do I notice that? So don't start criticizing and judging yourself for noticing the way you notice. Notice what you notice and let it go. And just bringing that into our awareness will start to change the way you notice things. You will start to notice more positive. You will start to notice things that make you happy. Most of us notice things that bring this to our, right? And then we have to go for Botox because we're always doing this. Yeah. See, you don't need Botox for that. You just relax it. There you go. Relax and smile. All right. Even when you notice things that are not pleasant, try to smile through that. Okay. I'm glad you're all enjoying your fruit. Keep enjoying. Last time I also touched upon, as human beings, we were designed to physically move, which as Dr. Sanjay said, and the two speakers before me said, and for social engagement. So the fact that you're here right now, and some of you with the cameras on, you're getting double benefit. You could have chosen to skip out on this, but this is the best way we can socialize right now is through Zoom. And you're here, you're doing it. So I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause right now. Do it.
Awesome.
Yes, you're here. You are already getting out of your mind, right? So now you're here, you have your camera on. Now, if you're smiling, you're changing your brain chemistry, lots of dopamine, lots of serotonin. So sit there with a smile on the whole time for the rest of my presentation, okay? Just kidding. Smile till it hurts, right? We don't move around enough, so that's what we're gonna do. I put earlier when Dr. Sanjay was talking about the different types of depression, and I can tell you, I have had seasonal affective disorder, which is spelled SAD for short, SAD. because in the winter months, I notice I do get sad. I do feel this depression come on. So for me, I have to get outside and I have to move. So thanks to my husband who introduced me to golf a few years ago, I have not been experiencing seasonal affective disorder for the last few years now that I go outside and I play golf. And then during COVID, we can't really socialize or do anything. So golf has been my savior. I have been, and that's what I did for my birthday yesterday is I played golf in the night.
Dr. Annie, did you end up beating Mandeep?
I always beat him.
Good, good. Because that was part of our conversation when we spoke on Wednesday. I said, make sure you beat him.
I beat him because I don't keep score.
That works. That works.
That always works. Yes. Thank you for your wishes. So yeah, so going outside is what's helping me. So again, it's kind of a repeat, but these things are so important. It's an application to therapy. Even if you need to take medication, do the aerobic exercise, get your sleep, light exposure, reduce the churning thoughts. And I have a little trick for that I'm going to show you. When we just keep following the same thought over and over and over again, and it brings us down. Social connection, we're doing it right now, or do it in your little bubble with the small group of friends that you do have, and then the proper nutrition. Last time I introduced you to Dr. Madan Kataria, the founder of Laughter Yoga. So I will give you the link for that, but even if you search it on YouTube, I try to look at one of his videos every so often. He's so contagious. His laughter and his smile is so contagious. I just turn him on for that, right? Don't tell my husband, shh. And then we were saying, Aman, you were saying, how do you do this, right? How do you make it a routine?
Yes, absolutely.
I have put together, so yes, I have put together something, and you're welcome to choose this or whatever you feel, but a 30-day challenge for 12 months. You can make each behavior, you can work on one behavior at a time, or once a week, whatever you want, like 7 days or 10 days. Like month 1 could be mindfulness. Everything you do mindfully, breathing, driving, eating, showering, studying, walking, listening, working, whatever you're doing, be in the moment, put away the device when you're doing it. So if you go outside, don't take your phone with you if you can avoid it, or keep it on silent, and actually take a walk and look around and enjoy the nature. I'm going to teach you the practicing rain. That's where you become aware of your ruminating thoughts. Month 2 could be smiling, or you could make month 1 smiling because it's easy. Just smile at everyone, no one. Even when you're sitting alone, catch yourself not smiling and then smile. Right, Sangeeta? I love your smile. Laughing out loud, even when you're alone. And yes, do I fake it? I do. I'm not this cheery and chirpy and energetic. I fake it. People ask me, well, is it the same thing? Yes, it is. It doesn't matter whether you're faking a laugh or it's a genuine laugh. So let's all practice laughing. On the count of 3, we're all gonna unmute ourselves and let out a loud laugh. We're gonna go, ha ha, hee hee, ha ha, ho ho, hee hee. Got it? Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho. Contagious. Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho. Right? Oh my God, I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Turn on your cameras and show me your beautiful smiles. Ha ha. All right.
Oh my goodness.
It's good for your core too. Good exercise for your core. All right. So as you can see, I have a whole list. Moving and going outside, social interaction, getting your sleep schedule set up. I'm gonna go ahead and mute, or if you haven't muted yourself, just go ahead and mute yourself. No worries. Proper nutrition could be month 7. Again, you can mix and match these as much as you want. Practicing time management so you are able to do everything. I put all my fun in my calendar first. All my leisure stuff goes first. Like if I'm going to play golf with someone, that goes in first. Then I plan my work schedule around that, because right now we can be flexible. And so I always try to do it. Fun first, then work, but get the work done. And then giving to others, helping, servicing others, you know, whatever information you learn from here, passing that on to others, that's going to be great for you and them. And then finding flow, that means doing things every day that give you pleasure. And I think Dr. Sanjay said that earlier too. Do something that makes you smile and feel relaxed, right? So I like to practice yoga. I like to play golf with my husband. That's our time together, and we feel very relaxed, except not the course yesterday. I was so tense on that course yesterday. It was quite a challenging course, and I was telling him how my head was hurting from all the computations my brain was trying to make on hitting a right shot. So certain courses. Keeping a journal, everyone's been saying that, so here it is. And then practicing kindness. Really, you being here and taking the time out for yourself is giving something to yourself. You're giving time. And I know you might have thought, well, it's going to be an hour or two. It's Sunday morning. We're running a little over. That's okay. Where do you have to go right now? Right? COVID, you're home. So at least we're engaging, right? So practicing kindness toward yourself, toward others, the environment, taking care of the environment, right? Let me see. Now, a book that I have really enjoyed, and I want to share it with you, is called How to Train a Wild Elephant. It has 50 plus mindfulness exercises, and they're super easy. And some of them overlap with what I'm saying. So I want to present at least 10 of them here, right? Smiling is one. Also, noticing your tone. When you talk to yourself, you know, we have that inner voice. Is it always mean to you? Is it always critical? Is it always telling you you're too fat, you're too lazy, you can't do this, you can't do that? Well, tell that voice, it's okay. Just chill, right? Be your own best friend. Talk to yourself as you would someone you deeply care about. Give yourself that. So notice your tone with yourself, with your others. And I've noticed people who are rude and mean, I actually have a lot of compassion for them, because that's how they talk to themselves, and that's how they're talking to you like that. People who are so kind to you, they really love themselves a lot, and now they're able to be kind to you. So if you want to change your tone with other people and not be so irritated at them all the time, don't be so irritated with yourself. You are perfect as you are. There's no one on this planet like you. When we try to be like someone else, we actually don't get it right. We get it imperfectly because we cannot be that other person. You can only be yourself. And so yourself is perfect. Okay, so remember that. Taking 3 deep breaths before responding to a text or answering the phone. Always take that breather, that pause, especially when you're replying to a message that's, you know, not so pleasant. Take a deep breath. So let's all do that right now. I notice right away your body starts to just really relax. We did the eating mindfully, noticing you're adjusting your posture. How do you sit all day? Are you all hunched up? I know I am. This is my posture all day on the computer. So I have to remember to allow my shoulders to relax. There you go. Put them back, right? Eating mindfully, we did. Using your non-dominant hand. I've been brushing my teeth with my left hand because I'm right-handed. And I notice I go a lot slower and I do a better job. So your non-dominant hand is like a 2-year-old hand. Your dominant hand, when you do things with your dominant hand, you do them without mindfulness because it's used to it. It can do it. You cook, you do things, you do 100 things with your dominant hand. If you switch to your non-dominant hand, especially for simple tasks, you'll notice you'll come into the moment. You'll slow things down. So I'm giving you lots of practical things here, but if you really want to, delve deeper into it, I would suggest getting this book. It's also an Audible. The person who wrote it, she also narrates it. It's an amazing book. Noticing smells, just when you walk into a room, you walk outside, notice, not just when you're eating and drinking, but notice the smell right now. Take a little sniff. Maybe you need to do this. I don't know. Notice the color blue. Look around you. Do you see any blue? It doesn't have to be giant patches of blue. I know my wall behind me is blue, but it could be tiny speck of blue. Maybe on your desk, in front of you, in your clothes. It could be any blue from silver all the way to deep blackish blue, midnight blue. Leaving no trace of yourself after using the kitchen or the bathroom. I know personally, I don't know about you, but I would clean the kitchen and then go back 10 minutes later and it would be a mess. And I would start yelling and screaming, who put this cup here? Who didn't wash this dish? Wah, 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 wah. And I know my family was just fed up with that voice of mine. And they were like, I wish you would just shut up. But you know what? I have stopped doing that. After reading this book, I go in there, even if someone messed it up 10 minutes after I left it clean, I just clean it. I put away things. I don't ask who left what and whose fault is this and who left this, in the wrong place and who left the jar with all sticky, the jam jar or whatever, the honey. I just wipe it. And you know what? That frees my mind to just be positive. Now I'm not worried about who did what. I just let it go. I clean it. I leave the place better than I find it. It doesn't matter who did it, right? Tidy up that living room, fix the tossed pillows, fold up the blankets. Don't ask, just do it. Free the mind to think other things. And don't be mad at anybody in your family, okay? Noticing your hands and the bottoms of your feet. Look at your hands right now. Hold them up to your face. Look at them. They do so much all day for ourselves, for other people. Sometimes we do things with love. Sometimes we do things with not so much love. But every time we look at our hands, we find flaws. Oh, my nail's chipped. I have a hangnail. Oh, my hands are aging. Oh my God, I need lotion. They're so dry, right? Take your hands, clasp them together, give them a kiss. Mwah. Mwah. And be grateful to your hands and don't be critical of your hands. They do so much all day long. Same with the feet. They take us so many places. Notice when you're walking on the hard surface, on sand, on dirt, on concrete, on your tile, wherever you go, notice what your feet are feeling as they take you places and be grateful for that. There's so many people who cannot see their feet or feel their feet due to illness, disability, whatever. They might be in a wheelchair. So be very happy about your feet. And lastly, I'm going to leave this with you is look up. Look up right now. Notice the ceiling. Or if you're outside, notice what do you see outside. The light fixtures, the different texture of the ceiling. If you're outside, you can notice the sky, the birds, tall buildings, tops of trees, houses. When we look up, because most of us are looking down, either at a device or just down. You'll see when you walk outside, you'll see people who are prone to depression and anxiety. They look at the floor. They look at the ground. They don't look up. They don't make eye contact with other people, and they don't look toward the sky. So get out of your mind. Don't look down. Look around at people. Look at the tops of things. If you have a window or you're sitting next to a window, look outside. See what you can see at the horizon. It's going to open up your perspective. Okay? Are you all smiling? Do you all have your smiles on? Fabulous. So this is the author. I want to just tell you about her. Mindfulness is deliberately paying full attention to what is happening around you in your body, heart, and mind. Mindfulness is awareness without criticism or judgment. And she is a pediatrician and a monk. And her quote is, "Become more happy, aware, and at ease within the flow of a busy life." And my favorite poem, I'm gonna share that with you as I end my part of the presentation. It's called, I think it was on the other page, right here. "There's a deep hole in the sidewalk." So I'm gonna read that to you. Chapter 1, it's by Portia Nelson. Close your eyes for this part and really listen. "I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out." Chapter 2. "I walk down the same street. Deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out." Chapter 3. "I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately." Chapter 4. "I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it." Chapter 5. "I walk down another street." So it takes us many years, even when we have the knowledge, even when we have the information, it takes us many, many years to figure it out. But just keep setting the intention. One day you will walk down a different street. And until then, good luck trying to get out of the hole. That's what we're here for, to make mistakes, smile through them, laugh through them, learn from them, right? All I can wish you is lots of luck and failure, because we can only grow from failure. I don't wish people success, because you don't learn anything from success. You really learn from failure. And here is that rain I was mentioning, how to practice not ruminating. So our emotions are just what we cycle throughout the day. Become aware of your emotional state, even right now. Check in. Are you feeling angry that this is going too long? Are you annoyed? Are you disgusted by what I just made you do with your fruit? It's like, how dare she make me eat this fruit like that? Are you fearful? Like, oh my God, I'm getting overwhelmed. This is so much information. Or are you feeling happy, joyous, elated? Like, oh, I can really use this. Or are you sad? Like, oh my God, talking about depression just made me so sad. I think I have depression. Whatever you're feeling, notice it, recognize it. That's RAIN. R is recognize. Then acknowledge it, allow it. Yeah, we went through a lot of things. If you're feeling all of these emotions, acknowledge them, allow them, investigate them, become curious. When I start getting irritated when someone's talking, I get curious, like, why am I being irritated? Is it this person? Is it what they're saying? Is it the time of day? Am I tired? What's going on? And then I notice the irritation starts to subside. So then you nurture yourself. You take care of yourself. If I'm being irritated because I'm tired, well, let me go rest. Let me take a nap. Or if I'm feeling annoyed because I'm a little bit antsy, well, let me go practice some yoga. Let me do some physical activity. Let me go outside. So once you recognize your emotion, you can actually take care of yourself better. And then you won't be snapping off and biting people's heads off, and you won't be getting angry at other people or at yourself. You will just say, I'm going to take care of it, and that's it. That's it. So go take care of yourself. And I want to really thank the whole panel and Iasa for putting this on and allowing us all to share a little piece of wisdom that we have all gleaned from our professions. And hopefully you can all pass this along. I want to give you a few books for yourself. Sitting Still Like a Frog. Have You Filled Your Bucket Lately? Those are children's books. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari is for adults, but I say we can benefit from all of these. So please, I'll send links for all of this. It'll be in our little recording. So yeah.
I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Annie. You are a wonderful, very joyous, very informed speaker. You're my own daughter, actually, I tell her, I even told her yesterday, Slonia, I said, Annie is different. She's an icon. Happy birthday again. God bless you. You're a wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
People, the same knowledge in a different way, so it's very easy to transport. I mean, it's not easy just to give the messages, how you transmit. Your energy is very positive. Thank you again. And thank you all.
Thank you everyone for your time and for listening.
Thank you, Aman. I think Q&A answers, if you want to make it very fast, we had a very long but very informative talk today.
Yes, there are a couple of questions that people did ask. I'll just get into it really, really fast. Annie, that was wonderful as usual. All of our speakers, Bhakta ji, Sanmay ji, and Dr. Sam, thank you so very much. It was really, really nice. One of the questions was, how do electronic magnetic fields and all the devices that we have around each other affect us mentally and physically? This is open to the panel, whoever would like to answer that.
So let me come from a yogic perspective, and there are some sciences behind it too. This is Sanmay. We are, if you are talking from cosmos to the body, it's very subtle, vibratory. Energy is vibration, and then dense vibration, hugely high frequency vibration, eventually condensing into matter. So that's how yoga and yogic sciences and philosophies look at it in a nutshell. There are complexities behind it. So if you have a vibration of some kind, see, your thoughts are a vibration. Your five senses are perceiving things. A lot of these are through vibrations. Your light is a vibration. Your sound is a vibration. Your heat or cold, they have some vibratory aspects. So all of these have some vibration. So we foundationally live in a world of vibration. And therefore, when you put and then again you have those brain waves, the beta, theta, alpha, all those. So the general idea is that each of these vibrations, not only that, even thoughts, it's not only electromagnetic, even thoughts. If you are in the presence of a great human being, like Ramana Maharshi, people used to go there to discuss, and they used to keep shut, because they would get their answers because of the transmission of knowledge through a different level of communication. So these are kind of the general comments from a yogic perspective. I'm also, I know from different studies of different electromagnetic and other things, they do have some impact. Some of the studies are controversial, but they do. And therefore, and other panelists can delve more into those scientific aspects of it. But from a yogic perspective, all the vibrations, even a touch, even a smell, these are all some sort of a vibratory stuff, either happening through matter or pure energy that are impacting your body, mind, energy system. I'd keep it at that.
Great. There's another question here for Dr. Sanjay. Somebody had asked that if they really do feel that somebody in their family is suffering from some type of depression, they have like really good confidence, their mood has really changed, how do they even begin approaching that person or getting them the help that they wanted? Sanjay, I know a lot of people aren't availed to mental health professionals. Who would you recommend that they speak to, or how they can even start the conversation?
It does get challenging to get folks to be evaluated or screened, and it's a universal phenomena that self becomes a barrier into understanding the self and bringing it forward. One strategy that comes to mind is leveraging the primary care physician's office, because most depression, while it's diagnosed in a physician's office, a primary care doc's office, most depression is also underdiagnosed in primary care's office. So I would start there. Crisis intervention, there are teams out there in the community mental health centers that are always available. There's always the ER approach, which is probably the last approach I would recommend, because that certainly creates more barriers. So for crisis management, I think the best route would be to not take things personally, evaluate the situation, leverage the primary care doc or a community-based treatment service.
Got it. Excellent. Dr. Annie, this is since you are the lady panelist on our group, somebody has said that menopause has really affected them. It's really brought them down. They're starting to feel really kind of subdued in their behavior. They're trying to be more physically active to bring themselves up. Any other tips you have, maybe mindfulness in any which way that could help them in this particular, all of our moms, wives, and sisters go through this at some point in their life. So I'm very thankful that people are talking about these type of topics.
Yes, and thank you for the person who put that question out there, because I think sometimes in our community we're not open about these things. And menopause is that time in a woman's life where socially, emotionally, physically, so much is going on. You know, she may also be feeling like, well, is she not a woman anymore because now she's not menstruating? So many things, in our whole lives, we are gearing up for menstruation and birth and being a mom. And then all of a sudden, the thing that you spent your whole life dealing with once a month is no longer there. And now it's the void of that you're dealing with. So that's very good that it's coming up. But yeah, definitely during menopause, women go through depression. Emotionally, they may feel alone. People don't understand what they're going through. So just to bring that awareness is good. Tell your family, this is what's happening. Yeah. And if you notice any mood swings, any fluctuations, just that's what's happening, but I'm going to also try to work it on my end. So becoming aware, again, allowing yourself, like this is a time in your life where you need extra support. So share with your girlfriends who may also be, either going through it or have gone through it. Share with your family who you feel comfortable with. Definitely tell your spouse, right? And your children are probably grown by now. And if they live in the house and this is affecting, you should be able to share it, whether they're boys or girls. Let them know so that this becomes a normal thing, not like, oh, it's just something that happens to mom and she's off in her corner. One time she's crying and another time she's pulling her hair out. Just talking about it, I think, is a big step in the right direction. And then doing self-care.
Okay.
Right? Whatever that looks for, whether it's, again, if you're not a yogi, fine, go take a walk, socialize, connect with people, eat the right food, take a nap. I think there's a lot of guilt in this country with finding rest time. We feel like we always have to be going and consuming news and information and being productive. So people have a hard time just finding space throughout the day to rest, take a nap, just relax, don't do anything, don't answer any emails from 20 minutes a day or half an hour.
Absolutely.
So carve out time for yourself. Definitely.
That's important. Self-care. And lastly,
Aman, I want to just a quick piggyback on that. And then there's the biology of, perimenopausal symptoms or postmenopausal symptoms, or even premenstrual dysphoric disorders. There are certain illnesses that are actually related to the hormonal shifts that occur, not only on the monthly cycles, but also during menopause. So there is always that availability of short-term medication treatments as well for severe symptoms.
Very good. So there's a self-care aspect to it. There's informing your family and having open communication. And then there's also a medical part of it that could help. So that's very informative. Lastly, Bhaktaji, for you, you had mentioned that it's always good to maybe get a accountability buddy. We call in the youth group, we call it an accountability buddy, where you get a buddy to help you stay accountable. Going on that, can you elaborate about that a little bit and why that's so important? And also, as a life coach, who needs a life coach, and who can really benefit from that type of service or partnership with someone like you or another mentor that considers himself a professional life coach?
Okay, good. Good question. So there are two parts. And number one, accountability. Why accountability? Because see, our human mind is whenever, it's like if you are in a business world, if you are asking your colleague to respond, basically the colleague may ignore you, but the moment you CC to your boss or their boss, they reply right away. I mean, if you have seen that. So we all want accountability partner who, it's not that the accountability partner should be criticizing you all the time. It's just like simply informing that you did it or not. That's it. They don't have to judge. But how often, if I'm like, I'll just call you and say, hey, Aman, how is your routine going? And you said, you know, you are going to do journaling for 5 days a week. How is that going? And you, 1 week, you might just come up with some excuse. Next week, you will say, third week, how long you going to go? Even though I may not say anything, but eventually you will say, no, I really don't want to disappoint, you know, Raj. And so that's accountability is very, very important. It's a human psychological stuff.
Excellent.
That the moment you have, you do it. And second thing, coaching. Coach, basically, to me, everyone and every parent should be a good coach. I mean, at least learn coaching skill. The reason is we all, become parents because of monkey see, monkey do kind of thing on the whole journey on planet Earth. But we don't really learn or improve the parenting skill. So that will help you. And one of the most important places it will help you is your relationship with yourself and with others. Because what happens is in coaching is not advising. It's pulling the best out of yourself, helping the other pull the best out of. If I'm a coach, I will help you, but you still have to do the work to pull the best out of yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
You become very strong. So anyone who is aspiring to go to the next level or go to the level to either which is spiritual, financial, physical, health, mental, any area of life, which is, let's say 6, 7 areas of life, if they want to move forward, coach will help them go reach that thing faster rather than on their own.
Perfect. Well said. I'll leave it at that. If there are any other questions or if you want a copy of today's transcript, please, I just highlighted on our resources page, isallc2019@gmail.com. We will have recording of this entire presentation. And if you email us, or if you have any questions, or if you want to get a hold of some of our panelists or mental health providers, or even yoga classes, please do email us and we'll reach out to you with that. Thank you everybody so much. This was a wonderful thing. Thank you to my executive committee. Thank you to all the panelists, Dr. Sanjay, Dr. Annie, Bhaktaji, and Sanmay, and of course, Rajbir and Venkat, our proud executive board. Thank you so much, everybody. You have a blessed day and enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to see you on the next panel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a happy holidays. Be safe.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you. Enjoyed it very much. And thank you for all the information. It really enriched me.
Thank you so much.
Excellent, folks.
Stay tuned for our next event. We'll communicate accordingly very soon.
Thank you, everybody, for your support. We always appreciate it. Take care.
Aman, you are such a good MC.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. I have a very good team that keeps me on my toes.
Keep smiling, everyone.
Take care, everybody. All the best.
Thank you, Aman, for playing the role.
Thank you, Raji. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amanji.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you all speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. We know, learn a lot.
Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Bless you all. Happy holidays.
Release meeting. Bye bye.
Nobody wants to leave. Maybe you can throw some more fruits.
Do you want to do another session? Bring another fruit.
Yeah.
Well, now when you go eat lunch or your next meal, whatever that is, remember to really eat that slowly and enjoy it. Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for my Punjabi kitty friends for showing up too and supporting us all. Thank you, everybody.